This is the LifeBlood podcast. Join us on our journey to inspiration.
This is as real as it gets, man.
Think for yourself. Question authority.
Used to this. I love it.
I like it, man. I listened to some of the podcasts last night. I like it.
Yes.
Especially one with the Rocky, man.
We're here with James Lea,
That's right.
also known as James Lea.
Or just
Don't-
James Lee, whatever.
James.
Don't ever call him Leah. That's fine. He is a BSN travel nurse, right?
That's right.
BSN.
I am.
Is the correct term, or RN to you common folk out there. And he travels around the United States to different hospitals. And
Around the world, actually. I've been out of country. a couple
around the world.
times.
See,
Around the world with
This is
Not
what
all
we-
around the world, but a couple places. I've been outside the country. Did a little bit of a third world country for a little while. It was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, so
Dangerous,
that's why we're
but
here.
fun.
We're here to learn about what you do and how people get into that type of thing. So we got a quote.
Today, our quote is: "People that matter don't mind. People that mind don't matter."
Yeah, I believe this was not stolen, but
No, it was. We thiefed it.
we thieved it.
We brain hacked it.
from
We-
our other podcasters, Tim and Adam. We did earlier. That's pretty cool. So
We thiefed it from them, and they encourage thieving, also known as brain hacking, where you see something else that someone is doing or something says, and you say, you know what, I'd like to incorporate that in my life.
Are you taking credit for that?
Of what?
The quote.
no, we're
I
We're
don't know
taking
if I'm
credit.
part of this. We're not going.
We're
Okay.
taking credit.
Make sure I'm
of-
hacking
of
that way.
thieving it.
Okay.
Thieved. It should be said. It should say thieved.
We're just applying it in our
By
lives.
LifeBlood.
Okay,
Yes.
I got you.
Podcast.
All right. I feel better.
And they used it, and I'm sure that they, well, they're brilliant guys. They probably made it up, or they possibly got it from
I think I've
someone
heard
else.
it.
They
I don't
probably
know.
brain hacked it from somebody else.
Yeah, brain hacker from somebody else. They told us about brain hacking, but basically, in all that you do and all that you live, well, I think we spend too much time thinking about, what are the people around me going to think about this decision? From the smallest thing to like, what am I wearing? To the biggest thing is like, what is my job?
How big my beard is.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And so does it really matter, what they think? If they're minding you, if they don't really matter to you, if they're coldly, you could say nobody to you, then it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter what they think about what you're doing, what you're saying, or what you believe. You should just be your own person, because the people that really matter in your life, they are going to, they're not going to mind. They're going to say, that's you. That's James.
It's James with the big old beard. How long
right.
you been growing the beard?
A couple weeks.
Good one.
Or sissy, since December, I've trimmed it twice.
Okay. Yeah, you gotta trim
but
it to get
December,
those.
I think I'm like 5 inches. I don't know.
You gotta get those split ends.
It's got to come
out.
off. It's got to come off though for too long. It's getting way too hot. But
Yeah.
I have rocked it since December, and I'm pretty proud of that.
I think it's beautiful. So let's.
Which
give
also has a coconut oil product in it.
Oh yeah, you put.
Oh yeah,
coconut
man,
oil
a
in?
coconut oil product and a little bit of scent of lavender.
I love it.
The wife likes it. I had pumpkin spice in there, but she didn't like that one too much. So now I'm doing lavender.
No. All right.
There we
So
go. Perfect.
just give a little background of where you started from. High school, junior high. How you found out you wanted to be a nurse. How you got in that kind of field. Your schooling and stuff, and then where you're at now with health, fitness, and where you work and how you travel.
All right. Let's see. Well, in the beginning, I was born in Louisiana, so I am definitely coon-ass by birth. My mom, she's a little bit more north. She's from Tennessee, but I've got coon-ass, like crawfish boils, French bread, beignets, all that runs through my blood. My dad speaks horrible French, but he does a little bit. He speaks like a coon-ass. And
Horrible French.
horrible, like you say, he does a little bit, but he speaks. My first time my wife now met my dad, my dad to me speaks wonderful English. He always tells me to speak with my teeth and my tongue. And the first time my wife met him, or my girlfriend at the time, he was speaking perfect to me, and then she was looking at me, and she always smiled. She always smiled, Never said anything, just smiling and nodding. I was like, how come you're not talking so much? She's like, I don't understand a damn word anybody in your family is saying. So after a while, she's starting to kind of pick up on the lingo. But I've been in Mississippi for about 15 years. We moved there. My grandfather and grandmother have been in the hotel chain business, owned, I don't know, 15 or 20 hotels. So we actually managed one of them that brought us to Mississippi. So I actually got to live in a Holiday Inn for like 2 years. So free food, free indoor pool, free anything you want, arcade games, weight room, everything. I had it all at my fingertips for about 2 years. And going through puberty at the time.
How old were you?
I was like 13, 12, 13,
You
11,
managed
13.
it at 13?
No, I did. My parents did. I
like,
just caused chaos when I was there. Going
course.
through, I mean, I'm the reason they had to shut the kegs down at night because I would sneak in the bar after everything was shut down and then dip my head under the keg.
Yes.
So,
Like physically dip your head.
oh yeah, man, I had it under the keg, pulling it down, all that stuff. So I got in trouble for that. And of course, we were like the halfway point between like two major colleges, which was like Mississippi State and Ole Miss. So we fed all of these big bastards. So we were able to get all of them in here. We had so I had all the food I ever wanted to eat, and it was free.
That's wonderful.
Free cable, free food, free everything. But that's what brought us to Mississippi, and we went there and we bought family bought a ranch and like a colonial style home. That's been my home for a long time now. I got into nursing because my mother has been a nurse for probably 30 years now.
Oh.
So I had some small heart issues when I was a little bit younger. I had a lot of like premature beats that kind of worried me and worried my parents a little bit. Tried to get in the military and they wouldn't take me because of it. So I was going in as a military police that my dad had also done. So after I realized I couldn't do that, I was like, well, hell, I'll give it a try. So got into EMT school, graduated EMT, and then immediately got a job as an ER tech, and then decided I loved it. So you
didn't go to college right out of high school?
No, I worked for a little while. I didn't know what I wanted to do. My parents told me I had one chance. If I didn't make it, it was on me. So I made sure I knew exactly what I wanted to do.
One chance for them to pay for college.
For them to pay for it, yeah.
Okay.
After that, it was on me. So I did construction for a little bit and then did the EMT thing. And then I didn't care for the ambulance a whole lot. I liked being in the ER. So I got in the ER and got into nursing school. My grades were getting better. I did some undergraduate stuff, just some courses just to get my GPA up. And when I got my baccalaureate, went to a private school in Memphis.
That's awesome, man.
And then, of course, senior year of nursing school, I had a massive stroke.
Yeah, you were telling me about that one day. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, well, let's see. I was doing good. I mean, I was like a B+ student all the way through. Had a hard time studying. Definitely was more concerned with women than I was my studying. And then senior year, getting ready to graduate, or take my finals and graduate. And I was studying all day, did the typical student Starbucks study thing, studied for like 6 hours, drove back to the dorm rooms. And then it was probably about midnight. And then I was like, I'm going to play a little basketball. We had an indoor gym. Buddy of mine stopped studying for his exams and went to play basketball with me. I did one layup, and all of a sudden my whole body started getting tingly.
You remember it all?
Oh, I remember every single thing, man. Everything. And we had just got done studying strokes in one of our classes.
Damn.
And couldn't hardly talk. I was mumbling a whole bunch, more so than my redneck voice now. I couldn't talk. Started to get real anxious. We had a trauma center next door, and I tried to walk there. Of course, they stopped me and they said, "Look, you just need to lay down. I'm gonna call the paramedics." And all of a sudden, when I laid down, my whole right side went out, completely paralyzed on the right. Could not talk anything more than like a mumble. Could not. I mean, in your brain, you feel like you're moving. And I can feel my hand doing, just all, moving everywhere. But I look down and my whole side is just flaccid. So being 23 years old and having a stroke and knowing you're having a stroke is not something that I would wish on anybody. So thank God I had good friends. And the funny thing was I always had trouble with my blood sugar. My blood sugar always got low.
You have diabetes?
No, I was carb. Man, I'm from South, man. Carb.
Oh, carb, insulin dependent.
Yeah. So I mean, growing up in college was like ramen noodles, man. So so anytime I had like this fallout on my blood sugar because it'd shoot up and then fall out.
So you were like pre-diabetic.
No,
That's-
I mean, I just had hypoglycemic attacks because I wouldn't get enough protein in my diet.
But
to
isn't
keep
that
it up.
technically
I don't
pre-diabetic?
know. It can be, yes.
Because
it can lead to
you
that.
Insulin resistant.
Yeah, because
after
my
that.
uncle ended up having the same thing happen to him.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right, but go on.
but yeah, so anyway, I pre-diabetic here. I was laying on the ground paralyzed, and my friend was like, "I got to call somebody. Can I call your family?" I just got a brand new smartphone, because they were just coming out. It had a little style. It was like the HTC or whatever version. Saved up, paid for it. like $200 or $300. I was big pimping with it. And then nobody knew how to use it. So my friend was trying to call anybody in my phone and did not know how the hell to use my phone. Finally got a hold of my brother, and my brother's like, "Well, what's going on?" He's like, "Well, your brother's laying here on the ground. He can't really talk a whole lot, and he's not having trouble moving." My brother's like, "Oh, it's no big deal. Just give him peanut butter. His blood sugar's too low."
Oh my god.
He's like, "No, I don't think so, man. I'm pretty sure he's having more problems than that." He's like, "Trust me, just give him peanut butter. He likes the chunky kind." And I was and I'm sitting over there drooling on myself and mumbling. It's like, I'm pretty sure this is not a blood sugar issue.
So in your mind, you're thinking holy shit, I could be having a did you know it was
I
a stroke?
knew I was. I knew I was,
I'm
yeah.
having a stroke, and then all these that's a feeling of just helplessness sitting there. I'm sure
man.
is just that. I mean, you could have just told your buddy hey man, it's not a hypoglycemic attack.
I could have if I could have talked.
Yeah, and I couldn't imagine that kind of feeling.
Well, I could talk, but I had what's called expressive aphasia. So when the paramedics got there, they're like, "So where do you want me to take you?" And they literally had a trauma center across the street. They're like, "You want us to take you to Baptist," which was 20 minutes away. And I was trying to tell them no, but instead, I literally remember the words. It came out. I was mumbling whale bait and dog food. That's all I could say. But in my mind, I knew go to the med, which is Elvis Presley's hospital. Go to the med, and I was just like, dog food, whale bait. I couldn't even cuss. I was so angry. So being able to talk, but not being able to tell somebody what you want to tell them, and you sound like a complete retard, is scary. Because I knew in my mind exactly what I needed. I got 3 hours from now to get TPA in me. Otherwise, I'm going to be paralyzed forever. And I'm a senior in nursing school, and now my mother's going to have to wipe my ass for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I wasn't having that.
Did you take, or did he go back to the peanut butter? Did he try to give you peanut butter?
No, I couldn't swallow. No.
But he tried?
No, he didn't.
Oh, okay.
He didn't. And I've been pissed. It would have given me creamy, too, man. I hate creamy.
Stupid creamy.
But, yeah, so finally we got to the hospital, and till this day, I was laying on the ground looking up because, I'm a big Jesus guy. Especially now that I've realized that just having family alone is a godsend. And my family's been with me through everything. So my doctor was an Egyptian woman who was a huge Christian, believed in working hard and taking care of people, but she was the number one in the hospital for neurological education. And I got the chance to have her. I got her student in the beginning, and then she came in later. I was in that hospital probably for a week, but the whole weekend she was on call. She never left my side. And if she did, she was a phone call away, and she was with me at every single test, every single procedure, anything they did to me. She was there with me, literally right beside me. And then I don't know why she took to me so well, but she did tests on me that she normally would not have done on other people. And because the weird thing was every time I'd go, they gave me TPA. So they took me in, they gave me TPA, which anybody doesn't know is a clot buster. And then they went and did the angiogram. So they went through my groin, went to my brain, and found out that because every time the clot would move, I could tell because the clot ended up in my left temporal. And then I could tell when it moved because certain things would come back to me and other things would leave me. So, but she's sitting there asking me well, won't you count down from 100 by 7? I'm like, man, I can't do that anyway. So I feel better. I'm getting to where I can move again. My family's made it there now. And then every time I went to sleep, I'd wake up paralyzed again. And which was weird. Nobody had ever heard of that. But she, thank God, knew that, they did studies showing that if you bolus your patient with fluid, like a liter of fluid, they'd regain. I guess because you're opening up putting more volume in the vasculature. I don't know what it does, but anyway, I ended up being bolus by like a gallon of fluid or something like that, and it got better. So after a week, the third day, I finally started to get to where I could get out of bed and move, because my mother was having to bathe me, like give me a sponge bath.
Yeah.
There's nothing more humbling than knowing that your mother's having to bathe you because you can't do it. Like I give props to any mom who has to go through that, because that's hard, man. Then I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm getting up. I'm moving around, and I did. I got up. I got my ass out of bed. Had the physical therapist come talk to me. We walked around, drugged my leg. I literally dragging my leg around. But I had pretty good balance, so I was like hobbling along. But after a while, man, I was like, this is stupid. I'm not going to sit down and be paralyzed. My parents paid, $50,000 for me to get my BSN. Now they're going to pay another 100. My bill after I got done was $160,000. Yeah.
From the hospital.
For the hospital, yeah. So, after that, and I started walking again, and then I must have had probably 300 people come in and see me in ICU, which was another big blessing. But being 23 years old, and I was like hard out for women, man. Like I loved women. I was a little more shy, but I loved women. My dad's the same way. Like, we would never do anything to hurt our spouses, but we have always loved the female form, the body, everything about it. That's why I married the best one now. Like, I found the best woman in the world who's got like the booty of a black girl, but the body of a gymnast, and then like an awesome personality. So I've got the best of everything. But I get in there, and nobody thinks about this. So if you're paralyzed on one side, and it's supposedly when they teach you, go straight down the middle. Y'all look for that when you guys were on the ambulance. You can tell something's
it switches
happening.
over at the eyes,
yeah.
right?
Something about like mine was on my left, so it affected my right. But nobody wonders, especially being a dude, how far down the middle does it go? So the third day, I'm laying in bed. I'm thinking, and part of my French, I hadn't had a morning wood in like 3 days.
For a 23-year-old man, that's pretty concerning.
Yeah, a 23-year-old man, that's bad. I was like, now if it does affect me, is it just the right side of it? I was like, the left still gonna work? But then finally, I was like, it's gonna be kind of like crooked. So, but by the third day, I'm like, I'm not getting anything. I was like, man, I'm walking now, but now I'm gonna be with that guy who's known of having ED. I'm like, no. But then, and this is no disrespect to my wife, and she knows the story. But I told her, I was like, I had a friend that she came in.
You weren't married at the time.
No. So I was not married at the time.
Let's get that straight.
She came in. She snuck in ICU to check on me, and she was a really good friend, and she missed me. And she came in, and I told her my problem, and she's like, "Oh, that's terrible." So she's like, "Get up, let me give you a hug." So she gave me I stood up, limped up, whatever you call it, I Quasimodo'd up, and she hugged me, and then she started kissing on me, and all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh, never mind, I'm good.
I'm better. Stroke's over.
Stroke's over. I'm better. Who gives a damn if I can't walk? I'm good now. Don't worry. Thank you so much.
You helped me.
Thank you.
Hey man, sometimes you just need a little TLC.
That's it.
Yeah.
So how? That's I can't even imagine that, just going through a stroke, even any time in your life, and you were only 23. So, kind of like how did that change the way you thought about life, and how did it change your view on being a nurse? Because I'm sure it kind of changed that.
That's actually I get that question a lot, and I've thought about that a lot, because not only did I deal with it, I had to deal with the aftermath of it too. So I get better. I walked out in 5 days.
That's
and
outrageous.
They found out it was my heart that caused it. So my heart, I was misdiagnosed of having mitral valve prolapse, and I didn't. I ended up having an atrial septal defect, or a patent foramen ovale, which is basically a hole in the top chambers.
Oh, I was watching So You Think You Can Dance?
Yeah.
And a girl on there, her mom had the same, like a hole in her heart.
Yeah.
She didn't say what it was, but she had a stroke and died from it.
Yeah.
And then the girl had a hole in her heart. So she was more susceptible.
And everybody's got it. That's basically the hole in your heart that basically will breathe for you. So when you're in the womb, your mother's taking the breath for you. It basically bypasses your lungs and goes through that little hole in the top chamber, and then that's what basically gives you oxygenated blood.
Okay.
So, but when you're born, and if I'm not mistaken, when you're born, you take your first breath. It's supposed to have some kind of chemical reaction and change, and then close up. Well, mine never did. And they're coming to find out now a lot of these older guys and women that are having strokes are because of that. So they did that with me, and they found it And of course I had to have heart surgery, a month later. But dealing with a stroke has been, I still deal with it. So my big thing is now is my family, they know I'm a big goofer, I like to joke, I like to have fun. I basically made it a joke. So from then on, from when I got out until now, people that really know me call me Stroke Boy.
Stroke Boy.
Yeah. So that, and my nickname is JMO, but most of the people, they call me Stroke Boy for a while because they knew that me laughing about it would help. Yeah. And then, because I had panic attacks for about 6 months. Wow. I had to have somebody sleep in the bed with me every single night. I had a good friend that, female, not male, female, sleep in the bed with me every single night because she knew that I'd panic, because I was 5 minutes from stroking in my bed and then being by myself all weekend. So dealing with that, I never had to be on any meds, thank God, but I found meditation. I definitely got closer to God with that. And then my sister, who is one of my best friends in the world, moved to be with me, and she ended up going to nursing school in my same school. So we ended up going to nursing school together, and I finished out, and she kind of continued the legacy. But so family is what helped me get through it, like family 100%. And then you never realize how much shaking somebody's hand, how important that is until you can't do it. You can't even write a letter. You can't brush your teeth, wipe your ass. I mean, I'm a righty. You imagine wiping your ass with your left? It's hard, man.
I've never even tried
it.
Yeah, try it. Try it next time to do it with the opposite hand and tell me how it feels. It's hard, man. So being able to shake somebody's hand, hug somebody's neck, and talk to somebody, like just sitting here talking with you guys, imagine trying to talk and not being able to make any sense.
You're saying whale bait.
Whale bait and dog food. Yeah. So it's helped me a lot because, and I realized after I got out of my stroke, I realized, like, you know what, life's too short. I can either panic the rest of my life, or I can get out and just get over it. And I just did. I just got over it.
That's I think that's awesome for you, because a lot of people could be in that same situation. I don't know if it's ever happened to anybody else. Could be in that same situation, anything like a heart attack at a young age or a stroke at a young age, and they could use that as a crutch for their whole life. They could say, I can't do that because I had a stroke, or they could actually like get off their butt and do what you did, and you use other things to get you through it, like for your family and
people do it all the time, man.
Yeah,
they use a crutch all the time. Woe is me. It drives me crazy, but it's cool though, because it's helped me, because every place I've been to has been pretty much a heart and stroke center. So being able to be there with somebody, because like I worked, my first travel assignment was at Yale University, which of course is going to be heart and stroke certified. You get doctors that come in, have no bedside manner, have no clue what the patient's going through, and then all of a sudden I feel like it was kind of a godsend, because here's a patient who's got a family who's stroked out, had a heart attack, something like that, and are about to get some kind of major clot buster or procedure, and the doctors don't even know how to tell them. They basically say, well, there's the effects, you could die from this, blah 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 blah, these are the problems that could happen. Never tell them like the good things, like, hey, guess what, if this works, you're going to be able to go home. You're going to be able to go home and have Christmas with your kids. You're going to be able to go home and like hug your family. So it's worked out, because people are like, you don't know what I've gone through, and I'm like, you know what, I do. I know exactly what you've gone through. Yeah. I was like, all this, all my hands, like moving, hugging people, talking, I know how it feels to be taken away from me. And I've actually had some people that were saying no to getting the treatment because the doctor scared them so bad. And no offense to any doctors, it's just even nurses, some don't have any bedside manner. They don't know how to talk to people.
It's horrible.
But me, I'll talk up a storm, because when it's taken away from you, your ass talks a lot, and you can do it again. So I finally, I was talking to people and telling them, like, hey, I know what you're going through. I understand. It's hard. This is a hard decision, but it's worth it. What's the worst thing that could happen? You die? Yes, it is, but imagine being paralyzed the rest of your life. I tell people there's worse things than death. Try being paralyzed the rest of your life, not being able to talk to anybody and not being able to hug anybody. I was like, give me the drugs. So it's helped me a lot, like in having my wife now, who knows all about my history, and like I've got a metal implant in my heart now from where they fixed it. So I have a titanium and nickel patch for my atrial septal wall now, and she knows about that. So it's scary to her, because this thing has only been out for like 10 or 15 years, and my cardiologist actually has one too. So I get through all my testing. I go, I'm on my 5-year mark after my stroke. I go in for a test, checkup. And I said, all right, doc, I've bypassed all the potential threats of what this patch could do, right after surgery. I was like, it's been 5 years. What do I need to look forward to now? Anything? And he said, well, I don't want to scare you, but there is a small chance that this thing will eat its way out of your chest. Or out of my heart. So basically, out of nowhere, I could develop cardiac tamponade and just bleed out. Wow. Yeah. So that right there, I was like, this is either going to be a crutch or this is going to be something that makes my life better. And I was like, because I can't take it out. I was like, and my wife knows now. Of course, that scares her a little bit. I was like, you know what? We're just going to enjoy every freaking day we have. Every day you wake up and say good morning is a good day. So that's what I do. Like, I'm not going to crawl under a table and die.
A lot of people would do that, though.
They would. And they do it all the time.
It's America, dude. I'm sure it's not even in America, too. I'm sure it's around the world where they just...
It's sad because it's so much more fun when you just enjoy life.
Yeah, it is. That's what
it
we're
is.
trying to do.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it sounds very simple, but it is. It's so much more fun when you say, you know what? Yes, I could die today. I could get hit by a car, but guess what? I'm about to go hike, or I'm about to go on a date, or I'm about to go do something. It's so much better. I mean, because think about all the money you save just from not having to be on anti-anxiety medicines or depression meds. Man, screw that, man. Thank God for them, but I'm not going to be on them.
Not me either.
That's why life's too much fun to sit down and be depressed.
Meditate. You meditate every day?
I pray every day. Meditate, yeah.
So in a way, it's the same.
Yeah, it is the same. I mean, you're supposed to meditate. You're supposed to be still and listen.
Just self-reflect, pretty much.
Absolutely. So, and it's a cool testimony, too, because now that I'm back and kind of feeling better, I'm in better shape now than I've ever been in my life. When I had that stroke, I was 185 pounds, 6'3.5". Now I'm 225 plus, and I'm not fat. But I got into CrossFit, man, and it's taken off. So it's a cool testimony to be able to tell people, not only did I get back up, I progressed.
Yeah, you got back up stronger.
Yeah. So it's a learning lesson. Like every day, like you learn. Like I got a lot of cool people that I look up to. Jeremy being one, my coach at Monster. But the cool thing about CrossFit is you meet so many influential people that just blow you out of the water, physical, and as far as physical wise. So you always have something to kind of work toward. So, which is cool too. So CrossFit's been like a really good therapy for me too. So that's one reason I like to do it so much is 3 days minimum. But I try to get there 5 days a week, and then you have no stress. Any anxiety you have is gone. Stress is gone. You just kind of leave it in the gym.
I don't really understand why doctors or the medicine in general, they don't, push that. When people come in and say, I'm feeling a little depressed or I'm having some anxiety at night, why? I feel like if I was a doctor, the first thing I'd be like, what is your day like? What's your, sleep schedule like? And are you working out right now?
Yeah.
Do you have any physical outlet? And I think a lot of those people, majority, would be, no, I don't. I'm on the couch and I'm watching TV or I'm eating ice cream.
Eating like crap.
Yeah, eating like crap and not doing anything, and I'm sitting down. But I just sat down for a day before, and man, it's just like a vortex. You just get sucked under there.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like, it's like you don't know what to do. It's weird.
It's hard to, like you were saying earlier in our other podcast, that there's a time to work out and there's a time to kind of just meditate and get the stress out by yourself by not releasing all your energy. Like, since Matt's a fighter, I mean, he was saying that he would go into the gym a couple times, or he went into the gym once and he was so stressed out and like kind of mad and didn't get sleep, and went in and all his anger was into that one guy that he was fighting or sparring with or rolling with. And he kind of took a step back and was like, this is not the right time to do it.
Yeah.
But I do think that everybody needs to get up off the couch and go walk around or something. Or even like if you can't walk 200 yards, then maybe walk 200 yards every day for a week, and then slowly progress. It all starts with the first step to get out there. Yeah. So how did you start CrossFit, and how long have you been doing it, and how did it change your life?
After I had my heart surgery, they went through my groin again, so I have no scars, which is cool. I told him, I was like, so I know this wasn't my fault that I had a stroke, so what can I do when can I get out there? I'm going to make sure that my next step is to make sure I never even put myself in this position again. I was like, so when can I start working out? Never really worked out before. I did biking, hiking, stuff like that, but, nothing crazy. And he was like, well, give yourself a couple weeks to heal and go. So after a week after my surgery, I was already running. So heart surgery one day, a week later, I'm out running.
That's crazy.
So I went out there, and my grandmother had like a little mile track around her little gated community. And so I just ran. I actually did better on my mile. I haven't ran in months, and I was running. I probably knocked off 2 or 3 minutes on my mile. I was so excited to be able to run. The time I got done, I was ready to puke. But I actually got out there and started running. And then when I started my first job, I was in the ER. I met one of the doctors who's still one of my best friends today. His name is Marion. He was like, look, man, we've got a class that I go to. It's called Krav Maga.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I was like, what is that? He's like, well, it's kind of like street fighting in a way. I was like, what?
Is
I was thinking like we're about to go to like a basement like fight club.
That's what like the Israeli army does or something like that.
Yeah, that's
right?
what it is.
Their martial arts.
Yeah.
So this one is the Krav Maga Worldwide, which I'm sure you know a little bit about.
Krav Maga Worldwide. Is that the?
It's just a form of Krav Maga. It's like an Americanized version of it.
Oh, okay.
So we go to this class, and the first thing we're doing is choking each other out. I was like, man, this is freaking fun. So like, if I don't learn how to get this choke off of me, I'm gonna pass out.
Yeah.
So I got really into Krav Maga. I got my level 2 in a couple months. And then they had another guy there that was starting up a gym next door, and we were going to do like an affiliate. Like you could get the package with Krav Maga, then you can come over here and do this thing called CrossFit for like an extra $30 a month. I was like, oh, why not? Because before I started traveling, I took off like 3 months and wasn't doing anything but like hanging out with family, visiting people, and just working out.
Taking time for yourself.
Yeah. Because I was about to have this huge life change. I was like, I'll try it. So we went over there and picked up a kettlebell like the first day to warm up. And then we did the Filthy 50 for my first workout.
My God,
What's
dude.
the Filthy 50?
It's awful,
It's
man.
disgusting.
It's I don't even remember. I haven't done it. I haven't done it
50,
since then.
50 of like 10 movements.
And it's
and
nonstop.
So 500
man.
reps.
Yeah, of like there's pull-ups, there's kettlebells, there's
Rowing,
push press,
wall balls.
It's stupid.
It's but that was my first workout, and then after I picked myself up off the ground, I was like, man, this is gonna be kind of fun. So almost probably 5 times a week in the morning at like 7, I was in there doing CrossFit for an hour. From like 8 to 9, 8 to 10, I was doing Krav Maga. I'd leave, eat, come back that night, and do Krav Maga again. And I was burning so many calories, I had to eat like 5,000 plus a day on calories. But I was having freaking time in my life, man. I'd get off work at like 7 in the morning and go straight to Krav Maga, even like before I quit for the 3 months. And because I was just dabbling in it then, and I was like, man, I've gotta get into this more. And then as soon as I got into it, it's an addiction, man. Like, but see, when you get there, it's like, oh wow, I feel great. Like I'm always pumped, I'm always sore, but like I feel awesome. Like there's no anxiety, no nothing. So basically, me and my buddy just learned how to choke each other out and kick each other's ass, and then we do CrossFit together, or vice versa.
It's not even just kick each other's ass. When I took Krav Maga, I learned how to kill people. I took it and I was like, okay, like Israeli like defense, like martial art, cool. And then the guy's like, all right, so you block the knife, then you break his wrist, and then you take his knife, and then you go around his back, and then you stab him with his own knife. And I'm like, what? Like, I learned how to like choke people, and then they tap out. Okay, you're done. But it's like, I mean, it's very different.
A whole different aspect.
Made for
it's hard to do that in a cage, man. You probably get arrested if you do it in a cage.
And they're like, everything that is not allowed in MMA is like they want you to do. Eye gouge him, kick him in the nuts, and then like hook fish him like at the same time.
That's like their signature move, like kick for the face and the nuts get in the way.
Yeah,
that's like what they taught me. Like you kick as hard as you can to kick them in the face and make sure their nuts get caught first.
Oh my god!
So, I mean, but it's street fighting, man. It's like somebody attacks you. I'm not gonna sit down and like, all right, hold on, let's warm up a little bit. It's like you got to get straight into it, and you find anything you can get to basically debilitate them.
Yeah, that's the thing. They want to debilitate, like make it so that they can't hurt you in any way as fast as you can do that.
Well, it makes sense for what it is.
And I was in Memphis, man. Like Memphis is not exactly the best place to be anymore. The nicest place in the world to be in the 50s, but now due to certain reasons, it is not exactly that. Like, some places are good, but like you can get shot quick. It's like Detroit and Memphis, and sometimes,
geez.
man.
So, how long have you been doing CrossFit now?
I started that in 2010, so I guess this is my fourth year now. Yeah, I probably had, but I've done it everywhere. So when I went to Yale up in Connecticut, I didn't do I did a lot of kettlebell work because I did kettlebell for strength training and then snowboarding for cardio. Because they had blizzards after blizzard, worst blizzards they've had in like 70 years where I was at, and everybody's like, stuck in their houses, and like I had just bought a brand new Subaru STI, full, all-wheel drive. I just got it. I'm like, well, I'm not staying in the house, man. So like we would like hightail it up to the top of whatever mountain we could find and just like go snowboarding. And then after that, I went to the Virgin Islands and worked for a little while, and they had like a little CrossFit setup in there.
Virgin Islands?
Yeah,
Wow.
St. Croix. So I did there. I mean, that's pretty much the third world country, which is full. I didn't even realize, which is full of gangs. It's probably one of the most dangerous places you can be.
Where?
The Virgin.
St. Croix, the Virgin Islands, the big island. As far as you got St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix, and St. Croix is the bigger one. The touristy spots are fun, but you get into mid island. I mean, it's dangerous. Somebody said they even had Crips and Bloods there.
Wow.
Yeah, like you don't walk around drunk; they'll rob you quick.
Or kill you.
Or
quick.
kill you quick, yeah. But yeah, so I did CrossFit in the Virgin Islands, kind of did my own thing, and then everywhere I go, I try to hit a CrossFit gym just to learn something new. So did that, and ended up went to Minnesota for a little while, trained up there, and then I landed in Vegas at Max Effort, which I think now, last time I checked, they're like the top 10 best in the country.
Yeah, they were. Jeremy was just there. He posted on
Yeah.
Facebook. They did.
Yeah, I love those guys. But I love, it's Zach and Lindsay that own it. I was with them in their smaller gym, and their new gym is gigantic. It's got its own AstroTurf in the inside. I mean, I did 14.4 in there, I think that's what I did. But I love their gym. I love those guys. But I think my favorite's still been Monster. Like Jeremy's, like it's smaller. It's more like family kind of oriented. It's more personable. But yeah, I'm like doing it there and like so I got a lot of good ideas and gains, and improved myself a lot at Max Effort. Then when I came here to Jeremy's, I didn't even know where Lancaster was, because I was in Oakland, California before here, working down there, which is pretty much like downtown Memphis. And I was living on the island in between Oakland and San Fran, and they had Alameda CrossFit. So I actually did the 13.1 through 5 or whatever in Oakland or Alameda, California last year. So they had this huge air hanger complex. It was nothing but CrossFit, soccer, MMA fighting, boxing, basketball, volleyball, rock climbing. So you had all this with like one membership. So like $80, you had access to all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you even had like a bar upstairs too. Like, so whenever you're done, you can go have a beer.
That's so cool.
Go grab a brew.
So yeah, and then like my recruiter was like, so I told him, I was like, we need to go where the highest paying job is. I don't care where it's at. Just tell us. He's like, well, we got one in Lancaster. I'm like, where the hell is that?
Really? Lancaster's the highest paying?
Lancaster thus far for me and my wife has been the highest paying job.
That's
just
surprising.
because people don't know where it's at. People would never want to come to Lancaster because there's nothing that's really appealing. So I thought too, but it's actually in the middle of everything. Like you got LA, you got the beach, you got the mountains. I've loved being here. Like the people are great here. The people I work with. Some of the clientele have been kind of shady, but you got 500,000 people with one hospital. You're going to get some shady ass people.
Yeah.
But the CrossFit here, like I came here, I was like, I'll try this Monster out. Walked in the door and Jeremy's in there with his big ass biceps, and like shirt about to blow off his chest.
Which was
and I was like, I'm pretty sure.
Biceps on biceps.
Yeah, his biceps have biceps and they constantly flex. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is the guy that I want to work out with. So, and I did some research and found out he's like, oh hell, he's a games competitor. Like he's gonna get ready to go to the games. So, and he's like, talking to Jeremy, was like really freaking nice guy. And I was like, you know what? Like this is where I want to be. This is a perfect size gym. We got I could tell that he gets extremely pumped whenever, like, just let's say the fattest person in that gym just PRs and does like one double under, and you think he just found the cure for cancer.
Yeah,
but it's good.
That's how it should be. That's how.
It is.
That's how CrossFit started. It was kind of there's something like that. It's just family oriented, community oriented, and I feel like some boxes are kind of like starting to get away from that.
Yeah, it's becoming a big franchise now, but I mean, it's still, the whole concept is still there. Like Jeremy's gym has been awesome, but you know, originally what I had heard, like Coach Glassman, that originally started all this, started out at Gold's Gym.
Yeah,
and he was coaching and came up with this thing called CrossFit, and you know, basically the owner of Gold's Gym was like, what are you doing? Like, all your people are passing out, like laying on the ground, and the owner said, look, come here, let me show you something. He was like, he pulled out like the log book and showed Coach Glassman, and like I said, this is all by word of mouth from what I hear, and it was like, this is how you know you have a successful gym. He pointed to all these people that were paying, whatever, $50-$100 a month, but only like a third of them were actually showing up to the gym. He's like, the ones you want in your gym are the ones that don't, that never come. You never use your toilet paper, never use your paper towels. And it's like, Glassman was like, I'm done, I quit.
Yeah,
and then that's where the garage started. So if that in fact is true, I thought that was really cool, because he's kind of got the same, like Jeremy's kind of got the same mentality as like Glassman does. It's like, it's quality versus quantity. So, and that's what I like about, Jeremy's gym. It's just like, I'm always getting PRs. I've PR'd, and I think everything that I've done in CrossFit has been in Jeremy's gym. I PR'd every movement, I think, at least a little bit. I mean, I'm up to, we're doing that double under challenge right now. And, that right there, like, I can barely walk, but, like he pushes you to do better. And that's why I like, even when he's not there, you're like, okay, what would Jeremy do? Like, what's Jeremy going to do on this? I got to get that way.
Yeah,
and then
he's an awesome guy.
Yeah, that and all the other coaches there, and just watching. What's that one girl that Jeremy coached? She was like 400 pounds.
Cassandra.
Yeah,
she's crazy.
She's my biggest motivator in there, because she got in there in the beginning. She lost like 180 pounds.
Yeah, so 160, 180 pounds.
And then she got that ABC special or something like that, which was fantastic. That's like the true success stories. Like Jeremy, yes, he's awesome. You guys are fit and awesome. No big, that's great. But then you get this person who's never got off the couch, so to speak, and then loses 180 pounds. They go from like zero to hero in then like a year. Like, that's the people that you want to talk to get motivation from. And even then, she kind of backslid a little bit, and she's getting right back on it now. She's like, oh wow, now I see what happens if I backslide. Now I'm getting back on it, and she's doing great. So watching people like that are what motivate me.
Yeah, I love seeing those stories, and I love it because there's people that can use it as a crutch, but those people, we had our quote this our last podcast was, impossible is nothing. They think it's impossible, but then there's that one person like Cassandra who does it, and then suddenly it's possible. And then it's a choice whether or not I want to do it or not.
Yeah, she raised the bar.
So it's pretty awesome. So let's say someone who's listening right now is really interested to be a nurse or something like that, and all they think of their options are limited to only where they are in their location. How did you make the choice to where at the time you're in Mississippi, correct, when you got your license? How did you choose, or how did you find out about traveling as being a nurse, and why did you do that?
Traveling was actually my motivator to graduate. My study habits are 45 minutes on, 15 off, break. And then my thing was, I have a desk, and you put in front of you everything that that nursing will provide you. So one thing I always had, I had my Subaru STI. That's what I wanted. I want a brand new, if I graduate nursing school, I want a brand new Subaru STI. I had that. I had a picture, it had Jesus on it. It said, it does, I never said it would be easy. I just said it would be worth it. And that, to me, till this day, has been my favorite quote. And then to the right, I had a picture of a travel nursing packet. Like, before I even graduated, I was already calling recruiters to try to get a feel for what it was. Because somebody said, I always want to go to Alaska, and I'm still going to go. Both my wife and I want to go. And I knew that you could make some really good money there. And I was like, well, how would I get to Alaska if I don't want to live there? So I did some research, and I found that they have travel nursing, and people would, tell me about it. So I called, and then as soon as I graduated, I kind of called them again, and this is after the economy kind of tanked, and they weren't taking people as fast. I said, well, we need you to get 2 years at least, and then you can start. So for 2 years, I busted my tail doing ER. I got into transplant, did ICU transplant for heart, cardiac and lung. And then my 2.5 year mark, I found a buddy that wanted to go. I said, man, I'm ready to go. Like, let's just make it. I'm taking the rest of the year off, which was 2010. I took like 3 months off. I said, 2011, we're going to be somewhere doing something. And then we just went, man. Like, one little ripple made this huge set of ripples. Like I looked into travel nursing, and then all of a sudden you get all these websites that pull up showing you travel with me, travel with me, travel with me. And there's probably 150 different agencies. And once you link into one of those, somehow your name gets spread. So as soon as they realize you've got a contract, or you've had a contract, you've got your experience, I get probably 20 emails a day of job opportunities. And I get calls every day for job opportunities.
Really?
So once you link into that, I mean, you can't, they will keep calling you. It gets aggravating as much as they call me. I have about 13 recruiters right now. I only actively am with one, because he's been the best, Cass and I. But I have about 13 companies that call me on a daily basis, if not, 2-3 times a week.
Just asking you, hey, do you want to go here and work?
Yeah. Or I get on their website and they have listings everywhere. Because most people don't know how. I didn't think I would be able to either, but anybody could do it. You get on there. It's kind of my first assignment, especially going to Yale. It was like my first assignment as a travel nurse. I'm about to go in, and we had 10 patients apiece sometimes.
That's a lot.
I'm like, still a fairly new nurse. I'm traveling, and now I got to get a 3-hour or I had like a day orientation. So it was like 12-hour orientation. And then the next day I had a full load of patients.
Damn.
And you had them between PCP, you had the weed heads, you had the coke heads, you had the drunks in the drunk tank, you had your regular patients. So my patients weren't even there with me. They had like 4 or 5 here, and I had like 4 or 5 over there. So it gets intimidating. So a lot of people won't do that because they think they won't be able to handle it. But if I can handle it, anybody can handle it. But once you get into that whirlpool of traveling, it doesn't stop. Like my first paycheck doubled what I made. My 1 week paycheck was more than my 2 week paycheck at home. So you make good money, and I enjoyed that part, but you have to be able to adapt quickly. So anybody who wants to do travel nursing, you can get in easy, but you just have to be able to go with the flow. You're not going to change anything. You're just going there to say, hey, I'm here to help. What can I do? You keep that mentality. I mean, I've never had any problem anywhere I've been. I've almost quit one job because they put my license in jeopardy. And then they kind of backed off because I told them, I was like, I'll quit. Like, I will not accept an assignment. So you have to be willing to step up and stand up for yourself, too, because they'll take advantage of you if you let them. But if you go in there ready to play ball, you're on their side. Like, I've never had any problem. This has been the best hospital I've ever been at, is it here in Antelope Valley.
Can you talk about that situation where they put your license in jeopardy?
Yeah, it was in the Virgin Islands. So,
Of course.
Everybody in the Virgin Islands is extremely laid back, extremely, go with the flow, island time, quote unquote. But some of them take that to the extreme and are extremely lazy. And no offense to anybody who's from the Virgin Islands, but it's as wonderful and beautiful as it is there. They don't have enough staff. Half the people were sleeping. I was in ICU. Like, an ICU was ICU, cardiac ICU, pulmonary ICU, step down, it was everything. That one little 8-bed ICU, I took care of everything. And sometimes they only had 2 nurses for like 8 patients. So we had, like, one night we had 8 patients, 6 were on ventilators. One was like an HIV, full-blown AIDS,
oh my God.
isolation patient. Then they were getting ready to bring us another one who was about to code. And we had one tech who was sleeping in the back. I don't know why, but she was sleeping in the back. So me and my friend that I was traveling with had that patient. And we had like 6 other ventilated patients. And we said, we have got to have some help. Oh, no, we're going to be okay. I'm like, no, you don't understand. This guy's going to code, and we've got other people in vents. So after the night was over, we told him, if you don't get us more help tomorrow, we're quitting. We're not accepting assignment. And they tried to call our bluff. We walked in the next day, they didn't have us help. We're like, we're not accepting assignment. I've called my recruiter. He knows we're quitting. And like, oh, no, hold on. We'll get some more help. Like, we're not accepting assignment until we get more help. Or we're quitting. You're not going to put our license in jeopardy. Then we had a meeting with the manager. Oh, what'd she tell me? I was like, man, you're going to make us negligent Like
Yeah.
we're going to neglect our patients. No, I was like, you make us lose our license. She's like, oh no, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of negligence to really lose your license. I'm like,
I'm just gonna make.
I'm not
you
gonna
do
give
a
any
little bit of
negligence to lose my license. Like you're freaking stupid. I was like, you go out there and take care of all those patients. I'm not doing it. So that was the only time that I felt like I was in a dangerous situation to where I could lose my license. And then I stood up and said, I'm done. I'm not going to do it. You're not going to put these patients in danger or me. And they found us help. So I guess they thought, considering me and my friend were like the new guys, and you know,
Like, oh,
we wouldn't
fuck
say
these
anything. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Sorry. So that's the downfall of like traveling. But there's a lot more highlights than there are, you know, downfalls to that.
So you've been traveling for like 3 years now. What would you say?
I started January 2011. Yeah.
So
It's about 3.5 years.
name like, can you remember like the places you've been and how long do you stay for each place?
First one was Yale. I stayed 3 months. Second one was the Virgin Islands. I stayed 5 months. Normal contracts are 3. We ended up extending a couple times. I do what's called strike nursing too. I do quick staffing nursing or urgent need nursing. I went to Minnesota with all these computer conversions we're having now with computer charting. You guys know.
Yeah.
They staff extra nurses to compensate for, you know, the slow. You know, it slows down considerably when you start a new charting system. So we do charting system nursing like that. We help out. That was like 5 weeks. Went to Vegas. That started out 4 weeks, and I stayed a year and a half. So
'Cause you liked it.
yeah, I mean, I met my wife there. So she was a nurse there. She played really hard to get.
Oh,
You know, so I had to work, man.
women.
Yeah.
Those are the good
And the
ones.
funny thing was I was actually dating somebody else when I went to Vegas. I met her in the Virgin Islands. I had that island love thing. And she turned out to be like Nuckin' Futz. So she... But we ended up going to Minnesota, and we did that and was fine. But as soon as I got around other people, I realized she was kind of off. And then my family literally sat me down and said, James, she's nuts. You got to get rid of her. And I like, if my family sits down and tells me that has an intervention, I was like, yeah, I got to get rid of you.
Intervention.
Yeah, she did. Like my whole family sat down and said, we'll support you, but. So after that, I ended things with that, but I wanted to go back to Vegas. So I told her, I was like, look, you can go back to Vegas, or I'm staying home, or vice versa. Like, but I'm not going back out there if you are. So anyway, she decided to pull out. So I went back, and then I started talking to my wife now. And my ex-girlfriend actually she called my wife back when we started dating and asked her to break into my grandparents' home. We have a condo there. Asked her to break into my house, or my grandparents' house, and get all of her stuff. So my wife knows like the craziness I dealt with before her. So like working for her, because she was like, I don't want anything to do with this guy. He's dating crazy ass women. He was like, I'm not into that. So about 3 months after I got back to Vegas, like she started kind of warming up to me. So threw a little Southern charm on her.
Yeah.
Boom. How long ago was that?
That was what was that? The end of 2011. So I started dating her in March of 2012, and then we got married last year in September. So we've traveled. Like she started traveling with me after that. So after we left Vegas, she started her first travel assignment in Oakland. So like one of the worst places, like the armpit of California. Basically, she starts there, and like every night we're tackling somebody, sedating somebody because they're going crazy off heroin or LSD or PCP or something. And then here she is, her first travel assignment, having to deal with that. So it was kind of hard for her at first, but now we came to AV, and I was like, oh wow, it's one hospital for 500,000 people. There's a lot of crazy ass people out here.
How long have you been here?
We got here May of last year.
How have you been here for so long?
How? Or why?
Well, because you said the contracts are for like 3 months.
Yeah. So the contract for this one was 8 weeks, and we ended up staying from May to the end of August, and we took like 2 months off for our wedding. So we got married, took like a month honeymoon, and then we both, like I said earlier, I do strike nursing. So she went to Washington to do a strike for like a week, and I went to Connecticut for a month and did a strike. And it's really freaking good money doing strikes.
And that's
It's dangerous, but it's fun.
Why is it
Where-
dangerous?
Well, because you're a scab.
yeah.
Basically the nurses are going on strike, and they think that nobody should come in there and take their place. So, of course, patients are going to take care of themselves, right? So we get in there, we get bust in, they'll throw bricks at you, they'll throw food at you, they'll
jeez.
cuss you. They do a lot of crap, man. I mean, it's ridiculous because somebody's got to take care of these people. Like, I'm not in here to take your job. I'm just in here to take care of these.
take care of these people.
So, which is funny because that's how my wife got her first job as a traveler, is because this place I did my first strike liked me so much that they put me on as a traveler. I don't know how I lucked out with that, but that got her first job. So, just it's weird how like travel nursing works. You have to be careful, but like I said, but now we've been here. We came back here in January and just keep extending. Like I said, the money's good, the people are good, the gym's good. My wife's huge into yoga now.
Huge.
Yeah, I mean,
love
like,
it.
yeah, I mean, now she's got a little downward Dane thing she's doing. Like, that's her little symbol, because we have a Great Dane that's like 135 pounds
Great
and
Dane
6'5" on his
enormous,
hind
bro.
legs. Yeah, so he's in like every little video she does, and it's incredible what this girl can do.
Yeah, I've seen some of her Instagram posts. Not to offend you or anything, but
No, man. I mean, it's sexy. I
it's
mean,
crazy.
my wife, to me, I don't care what anybody says. My wife is sexy. Like, she's doing these. Like, I'm looking at her, I'm like, wow, could you do that in the bed? But I mean, not to be provocative on your podcast, but I'm like, she can, like, you're doing a handstand. The only thing she can't do is like tongue push-ups. I don't even know how the hell she would do that.
Is
But
that even possible?
I don't know. She's gonna find out. But my
Somewhere.
dog is like always beside her. Like, he's laying down chilling, and she's doing all these crazy yoga poses. And I go to yoga with her too. And all these people in there are good, but now she's like really good friends with one of the teachers. And they're posting these poses. They're doing like handstands, and they're like touching feet. And I don't even know what they're doing. And I'm like, wow, my wife is incredible. She's only been doing this like 4 months. You know, she had a gymnastic background when she was a kid, but like she's never done like handstand holds and like some of these poses. Like, she'll be in there, I'm in there sweating to death, and she's just like, oh, whatever, yeah, it's a little downward dog. Let's do a little finger push up, you know.
Is it-
Yeah, but she's awesome, man. She's a good nurse. You know, patients drive her crazy because they're stupid. You know, the ones that act stupid, she can't. Her patience is not as high as mine is. Like, I dust a lot of stuff under the rug, but she's like, they're stupid. You know, like these people coming in, like they're coming in here and they're taking away from the people who really need us.
Well, that's the
It
hard
drives her
thing
crazy,
about it,
man. Well, you guys know, picking up people in the ambulance and they're like, "You have a fever." Oh, okay. Yes, that's a good reason to call the ambulance.
What?
Oh, you have a hangnail? I'm so sorry you have a hangnail. Let me take you to the hospital with $1,000 ambulance.
Yeah,
ride.
it's exactly what you said. It's not only, I mean, they're being selfish because, I mean, sometimes out here, there's no ambulances available because we're either waiting at the hospital or everyone's on call, and there could be like a cardiac arrest in Lancaster, and the closest unit that's available is coming from Santa Clarita.
Yeah.
And I know it's happened before where it's like, this person really needs this. It needs an ambulance, but the nearest ambulance is like 20 minutes away. And the hospital, if they drove themselves, is like 15.
Yeah.
Or the ambulance is like 30 and the hospital is 15. And it's been like, hey, man, this is like a life or death situation. You need to drive yourself to the hospital because our closest ambulance is like 15 minutes or like 20, 30 minutes away. And it sucks because all these people are abusing the system and using it for a fever or a toothache. We had a toothache the other day, or she got her teeth pulled and her teeth hurt. And
Yeah, or
it's
just
like,
using it to get
ridiculous.
to
I would never
get
believe
high.
you guys if I never would have seen it for myself. The fact the only reason I would ever call an ambulance, oh yeah, I had a stroke. Oh, I mean, I'm not trying to downgrade anybody else, but like that seems like a legitimate reason. Not that, oh, I feel a little bit sweaty. I might have my toe. I just stubbed my toe. You know, like it's ridiculous.
Is it like this everywhere that you go?
I
or
think
is
it seems like it's worse here because you guys literally only have like one hospital or two hospitals. You got here in Palmdale for like 1 million people or however many people you guys have. I mean, I think Palmdale. I mean, Lancaster in the beginning was like 30,000 people. Now it's grown. Yeah, in the beginning, like now it's grown to like what 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 people, and you still only have one hospital. I don't understand that, but you know now we take care of the prisoners too. But you guys, I've seen you guys in there like 5 times a night, and about maybe 2 of them were legit reasons to be brought in.
I'd say
Maybe.
probably one.
Yeah, like maybe. I'm like, it drives me absolutely Nuts.
Yeah.
I can't stand and that's the thing now. Like, I have to really concentrate. Like the meditation comes in, the praying, the working out. I think that's why I PR'd on everything, is because I stay pissed off at work for these people that come in. And I'm every time like I finally PR'd my back squat at 425, and I'm pretty sure in my mind I was bashing somebody's head in my that came in the ER for something retarded for like the 12th time that day.
Yeah.
I've literally seen people come in there like 3 times in a day, and most of the time they're drunk.
Yeah.
When did being drunk become an emergency?
It's not an emergency.
Back when I used to drink, you basically just had to deal with it. I've puked my brains out a few times. Oh, let me call the ER. I need to go in there and sober up. That's stupid.
We
man.
get those calls. We had a lady who hadn't drank any alcohol for 2 years and had like half a bottle of tequila, and the entire ride, me and Mikey still joke about it. But we got there and we're trying to like get information from her, but she's only Spanish speaking, and they're like, "Ma'am, what's your name?" And that's all she would say the whole ride, even the whole ride there. And her husband was in the back with me, and I was talking to him, and I was like, "All right, how you doing, man?" He's just like, just shaking his head, and his wife would say, "I," and he'd like push her, like, stop saying "I."
It sounds kind of perverted too. Like,
yeah, it does. It was provocative.
But I love how they come in there so plaster drunk. I never drink.
Yeah.
I never drink. And you're like, well, your alcohol's like 600. I'm pretty sure you drink a little bit. Well, every now and then I drink. How much is a little bit? 8 to 12 a day. Or my favorite one is, how much do you drink a day? Only 2 beers. Now I know to ask, how big are the beers? Oh, they're 40s.
40.
So 80 ounces of beer a day.
Only
That's
2,
more
though.
than what
Just
most
2.
people drink in water a day. It's ridiculous. I can't stand people like that. And God, like I said, you just got to have patience. But it pisses me off because like people really do get hurt and need help.
How do you think we, America, could change this?
We're raising a society of lazy people.
How do you? Okay, if you could give
And-
somebody that's doing that.
No, everybody's too happy. That's how. If we could sit down and freaking decrease the amount of people, like, all these commercials you get. If you're on this supplement or you take this birth control and you got a blood clot, you'd be due to compensation. There's a warning label on the box saying you could develop blood clots. Oh, and half the time they smoke. Like the other one, my new favorite one now is the testosterone supplements. If you developed a blood clot or a stroke or something, you may be due to eligible compensation. Like, it's on it's on the box, it's on the commercial. You may develop this. Take at your own risk. If we weren't so sue happy nowadays, and all these lawyers that are sitting down and agging on, hey, sue because of this. That's why your CAT scans cost like $3,000, because the insurance companies will only reimburse you like $1,000. That's all it costs is $1,000, but because if they were to charge $1,000, the insurance company like, well, we're only gonna pay $300.
Yeah.
And us as taxpayers are paying everybody else's health care. And that's the part. Like the other day, I almost snapped on a patient, and like I said, this is all in my mind. I'm not doing this to patients. I'm active. I'm actually pretty kind to patients. I like taking care of people. But she comes in. She's 20 years old and on welfare. She's got a baby she can't take care of. She tried to make it in L.A. She told me, I asked her about insurance. And I was like, who's your insurance through? I'll try to see who I can, set you up with as far as doctors or which covers what, blah, 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 to my limited knowledge. And she was like, well, I don't have it yet. It's in limbo. I'm trying to get the Obamacare. And I'm like, and I'm sad to say I had to get it too, which I had to have. And the only reason I got it is because I'm married. But because of my stroke, nobody would take me. But anyway.
Well, I got it too. So.
Yeah, so I got mine.
I had a baby and I'm only 20, so
yeah,
there was no way of paying $40,000.
Yeah,
it's crazy how much.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But she told me, she was like, well, I'm trying to get through the welfare office. I'm like, why are you going to the welfare office? I was like, if you don't mind me asking. Oh, because I'm trying to go to school. And I was like, you can get welfare for going to school? And I was like, she was like, but I'm trying to sign up for Obamacare. But I was like, how long has it been? I was like, I know it takes a little time. It took me a couple days. She's like, it's been since November. And I'm like, November? And I was like, how are you doing this? I got online. It did. Oh, I do it through the welfare office because I don't pay anything for it. I'm like, every cuss word I could possibly think of at that half a second, I called her. In my mind. Like I said, I'm not cussing patients out. I'm like, I had to walk away. I'm like, you mean and I pay $330 a month for me. For myself. I used it one time, and they didn't even pay anything because I had to pay my deductible.
That's how much I pay for my family, my wife and my kid. and they don't pay anything either because I have a deductible. So it's like it really angers me when people are using.
The government is so screwed up, man. It's ridiculous. I could go all day on the government, man. I could go all day. Just on healthcare alone, I could go on
I
that,
think
man.
I would like to have just a podcast just about healthcare.
And just layman term podcast healthcare. Like you're not even getting into like the specifics and the big words that people use and nobody can understand.
Yeah.
You know, basically just manipulates you into signing your name. Oh, we're going to pay $500 a month, but we're not really going to cover anything.
And that's the thing. It's insurance companies, doctors get endorsed or money for prescribing certain medications, and that's why people aren't encouraged that much to get off the meds and get on an actual diet or exercise more. And it's just it's like a vicious circle that's winding our world. And
well, like for instance, like you could say like when you had your stroke and that was a traumatic experience, no doubt, and then you had that period where you were anxiety prone. You could have easily gone to a doctor, psychiatrist, whatever, and then boom, there you go. You're on psych meds. Here's some Valium, whatever it is, say something, and then you're taking that because you're trying to deal with this, and that's the only way your doctor, your supposed healthcare provider, has saying this is the healthy way to take care of it. Next thing you know, you're on that for the rest of your life. You're paying that much money, and then you're dealing with the side effects.
And you're addicted to it.
And then you're addicted and then you have to like changes your dosage, and then your chemistry's all wrong, and then all of a sudden you decide, you know what, I don't want to be on a pill one day, and then it's too late, and your brain chemistry is just all just like flip flops.
The one thing you're taking for anxiety is now causing you anxiety if you don't have it.
Yeah.
I've talked to somebody the other day that was on Ativan for like 15 years for something that happened 15 years ago, but he still takes it. I'm like, did you still have problems with this? No. I was like, well, why do you still take Ativan? Well, I get anxious if I don't have it.
There's a lady at the hospital, and there was just a guy yelling. She's like, "Oh my goodness, I cannot take this." And then she's like, "I'm gonna get my Xanax." And
that's exactly how they sound too.
And I was like, wait. Just because you're annoyed from this guy yelling, you're gonna take a Xanax and chill out? And
I mean, that literally changes your brain chemistry.
It does, yeah.
That's
exactly
what I told her.
it does.
You can't just pop pills like that and just like expect your brain to be okay.
The thing is that we can't. That's how easy it is now. It's not like now we're giving like Dilaudid for broken toes or something like Dilaudid. Dilaudid, whatever that D word is.
Dilatin
and
Dilaudid and Dilantin.
But like you're giving that was originally a cancer medication.
It was?
Yeah. It was a medication given to cancer patients for pain.
When they would like go through chemotherapy.
Yeah. I mean, chemotherapy is a miserable ass way to life, man. Oh, and now I broke my toe. If I broke my toe, the fact that I got Tylenol would have been a big deal. You break your toe, you duct tape them together and then move on. It's going to hurt because you broke it. Like pain is showing that, hey, there's like if I understand that there's certain things that require high dose of pain medication, but not a stump toe or like a. And I've literally watched doctors prescribe that because if they don't, because what's the hospital based off of? Satisfaction scores. We're literally making drug addicts because of satisfaction scores. Yep.
And like you said, if they don't, they're just going to come back. I just picked up somebody was in the hospital the day before because he had kidney stones. He took I think they prescribed him morphine or Norco. It was some pain med, and he's like, I took it, it's not working. So he called 911 the day after he was in the hospital to go to the hospital because he was in pain to get more pain meds, and the doctor will probably just prescribe him some morphine or whatever. I don't even know what goes on with kidney stones, so I don't know what they give, but he was in there just to get pain meds, and he's going to be a drug addict. Possibly.
And the thing is that the number one drug that they've shown to really that really works for kidney stones is Toradol. Because Toradol is like it's like a IV form of Advil.
Oh, okay.
But something in the Toradol, it's either Toradol or Dilaudid. Like kidney stones hurt like hell. Like I have no doubt. I've had women tell me they'd rather have 4 babies than pop out one kidney stone.
And they're not kidney stones, okay? They're kidney spike balls.
Yeah, they can be. Yeah. So those are your barbed. They're barbed and they're smooth ones. So if you're pissing blood, they're probably barbed because they're literally cutting micro tears inside your urethra or your ureters. So yes, that hurts like hell. So yeah, but usually they give Toradol because I'd read somewhere that Toradol actually relaxes the kidneys, for a layman term, the kidney system, like the tubes. It helps relax those specifically, as well as being like an anti-inflammatory. Because if you're cutting microscopic tears in your
You're gonna have inflammation.
You give inflammation. But we're giving like meds after, and like I said, I do this every day, and like I'm starting to feel bad because I'm like, we're creating a society of drug addicts and wusses.
Yep.
You know, yes, it hurts. I'm sorry, but we're not going to give you Dilaudid because you sprained your ankle, and we do because we're based off satisfaction scores. You know, that's ridiculous. We should not be here for satisfaction. We're here to say, hey, guess what? You're having a heart attack. This is what we're going to do. It's going to suck. You know, you're going to go through, you're going to go through rehab. We're going to do everything we can to make you comfortable.
It will be painful.
But you're going to go through pain because guess what? When you go through pain, you don't forget it. You know, now granted, I don't want anybody to suffer, but.
Well, you know what? I mean, talking about kidney stones, like if you just ate better food and drank some water instead of that soda, maybe you wouldn't have.
Yeah, in general, that's usually what you need to do. It's usually lack of water intake.
Yeah. And
your crap diet. There's some people though that get them and they, no matter what they do, and you know, God bless them. Sorry, but most of them don't. Like another thing too, like your people that go through DTs, like these heroin, heroin users, and I'm glad they're trying to go through that to get off of it. But they're like, well, I've done this like 4 times. They give me like Ativan, they give me Xanax and all this. I'm like, do you ever stop and think? I told a guy that does it. Do you ever stop and think why you keep falling off the horse? Like why you keep getting back into the drugs again? I was like, if you went through a full-blown DT, now granted, we're not gonna let you die or have, if you have seizures, we're gonna take care of that. But if you ever gone through full-blown DTs, I would never want to touch another drug again. I had a woman the other day that was going through full-blown DTs. And we gave her Ativan. Oh, nothing's wrong now. Oh, I'm fine. But it'd been her 3rd time to rehab. Like, you need to understand that you do this. This is you need to struggle. But
like right now, like I'm not eating gluten. But then if I have bread right now, like I'm gonna feel that gluten in me, and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be out of it. But I don't want to then just like take like a Tums or something and then not feel it again, and then just keep doing something that my body's going to be like, okay, stop.
That's not as severe though. Tums I can handle, but I'm not going to give you Dilaudid because you're gluten intolerant.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that like our bodies are smart, more smart than we give it credit for.
Yeah.
And so if we're feeling pain, we're feeling anything that's negative, it's not that our body isn't working or we're uncomfortable. It's our body trying to tell us something like, hey, like you're doing something to me that's not good.
Yeah.
So, or something's wrong.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, like it's either you duct tape it and you try and get over it, or you fix it. You change your diet. You change whatever.
And if you need meds, it needs to be a limited time frame, not the rest of your life. But that's another thing too. Like one of my favorite guys right now is Kelly Starrett. Like I told you, the book, the Supple Leopard book.
Yeah, that book.
Yeah, which is awesome. It's my favorite book. I think Kelly Starrett is a brilliant guy. I was watching him, and I've been kind of doing some of his just daily things to make life better. Like my left knee because of bad form.
Yeah, are you a subscriber to the Pro Mobility Wad Pro?
No, I'm not paying however much it is a month.
Are you making?
I mean, I get on YouTube.
No, I'm not.
I support him with his book, but I have enough stuff I'm paying for.
Yeah,
now But he has his website, and you can get a lot. But you can do a lot on. Like I eventually, once I run out of his videos online.
There's too many to run out.
Yeah, I know. So, but that's when, because I like being a part of what he does, because I've even taught nurses at work. You think about a nurse. I was listening to his London Real. He did the podcast London Real.
Yep.
And he was talking about just the way people walk is debilitating them. And I started listening to it, and he's like, if you think about it, he's like, your Achilles tendon, back of your heel, because we have all these heel raisers in our shoes now, it makes it easier to run. But technically what we're doing is we're shortening our Achilles tendon, and then once we try to walk barefooted or run barefooted or do anything that puts any stress on that tendon, it pops. He was big on walking barefooted, flat-footed, Converse, flat-foot shoes. But the big thing with him, he was talking about, now think about it this way, you can do a bad squat, but bad form, it's not going to debilitate you. Hopefully, you can do it for a while. You may have some aches and pains, but now, and you correct that, and then your squats are better. You feel better. You don't hurt as much. But now take like for my job or your guy's job, for instance. Imagine just walking the wrong way. And that's what he said too. He goes, the average American walks 30,000 steps a day. The average person over in Europe walks like 60,000 steps a day or whatever it is, something high. He's like, now, imagine walking every single step in bad form. Yeah. And then people wonder why they hurt after 30 years. So I literally have been like watching the way I stand, watching the way I walk. Like your toes should be forward. You
That's
don't need to walk like you have a bass drum, in between your legs.
Yeah, like a duck.
Yeah.
Matt and I were, when he was working with us, that's what we always talked about. We always corrected each other's form, and I mean, just being conscious of it and actually knowing like this could hurt my body years down the road, even though it doesn't hurt now. Like stepping with a turned out feet could just be like debilitating in the next 10 years.
And since I've changed that, like just because I've been wearing Converse, because the best way to tell for me is to be flat-footed with no heels. And anytime, even if I'm stepping or walking, or if I'm still, I try to make sure like my feet are pointed forward, my heels are like I'm under my hips. So if I'm just standing in front of like the Pyxis system to get medications out, I make sure that before I even touch the computer screen, I look down at my feet and I make sure that they're straight forward and under my hips. And since then, my knee hurts about 10% of the time that it used to.
Wow.
It doesn't hurt to walk anymore like it used to. After wearing Converse for 13 hours or 14 hours straight, you hurt.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, these shoes suck. But now I realized it was just because of the way I was walking and using them. But it's cool because you got people like Kelly Starrett that has dedicated like his whole freaking career to just learning how to be human.
Yeah.
And that's why he's so successful, is because it's not just for CrossFit people. It's not just for gymnastics people. It's not just for the everyday working guy. I mean, it's for all those combined. He helps a lot of people. And just looking in there and just daily maintenance on your body, even if you didn't even pick up a weight, you'd be a lot better off just learning how to move, which is awesome. Which kind of relates back to me too, because going from not being able to move on one side of your body to moving, like still to this day I have trouble with like riding extended periods of time. And he teaches you just do a little bit more every day and you get better. Like, I couldn't write one sentence. It took me like 5 minutes to write a sentence. Or I'd write a sentence and have to rest for 5 minutes. It literally physically exhausted me. Now I can write for hours, because I had to go through school. But doing a little bit, like you said earlier, a little bit every day, whether it's 200 yards and one more step, eventually your body adapts and will get better. And then I said, like, I freaking love that guy. I think he's great. That is where he likes butter in his coffee too. So
he's an awesome guy.
I love that. So like you and your wife are both traveling. How do you can set that up where you're like, we want to travel as a
we're a team
group?
And how do you manage your family life? Like, let's say you had a kid, could you still be a travel nurse?
Yes, you can. It's a little bit harder. We basically have a kid. We've got a dog that's taller than I am. He's 130 pounds, 6'5".
Dog. I love him.
It is a little bit harder. A lot of people, what they do now if they have a family is they get a motorhome. And basically, the company will pay for it. The way they do that is you get what's called a stipend or a per diem or a living stipend, which is actually tax-free from the government. So you don't pay taxes on that.
Yeah.
So they will get like a motorhome and travel around with it. It's kind of hard with a Great Dane, but what Cass and I do is we take the housing money because either the company provides a housing or we can get more money to our paycheck tax-free and get our own housing. So we just get on Craigslist and do some very detailed research, considering there's so many shady people.
Craigslist,
the Craigslist where we found this guy here is like on the 5th page in, but like the guy we live with now is like 70 years old. He's got like a 40-year-old girlfriend. Sounds kind of shady, but we actually went there and he's like part of the family now. It's Bree's grandpa.
I don't know, Bree.
Yeah, Bree with EMS. Never mind. Not Bree. Excuse me. Not Bree. Bree's with the scribe. Her boyfriend works for EMS. Bree's one of those.
Brad?
Yeah, Brad.
Oh, okay.
So it's Brad's grandpa.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, freaking nicest guy in the world. Yeah, Bradley.
Bradley.
And then Bree, is a scribe. Like it is. And then Kim, who's the other EMT. That's her grandpa.
Oh.
So like I said, we
awesome.
just kind of all like we're all one big happy family now.
That's awesome.
So it's a little harder. If it was just Cass and I, it'd be a lot easier. But since you have a dog or if you got kids, it makes it harder. But it's not impossible. People do it all the time. Still make good money. And then some kids homeschool. Like one guy told me that he worked the wife came with him and the kid came with him, and then the wife homeschooled the kid. So he'd work, she'd homeschool, and they lived in a motorhome, and then the money that they got for housing paid for their trailer.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
So, what is your number one thing that you could tell us throughout life, your whole high school, college, stroke, heart surgery, everything? If you could take away like one or two things and just give it to us to thieve.
We want to brain hack you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brain hack me.
Your most valuable possession that you've learned so far
Yeah.
in your life.
I see. The first one was the quote I always had in college is that I never said it would be easy. I just said it would be worth it. You know, that to me has stuck with me through college, stroking, you know,
Yeah.
the CrossFit, everything. Like that right there reminds me that anything worth anything, you've got to work for it. Otherwise everybody would do it. Nobody would appreciate it. So, you know, that's one quote I would take away.
So you're working hard right now so that you could be happier later on, or
Yeah, well, like right now,
or
just for an
have
example,
the money later on to do whatever you want.
Well, yeah, right now, like when Cass and I got married, we had a pretty significant amount of debt. You know, school loans. I bought a brand new truck.
Debt.
Yeah. So we got involved with this guy called Dave Ramsey. He's got a
Dude,
podcast.
I
Better
just
than I
read his
deserve.
book.
Yeah,
Better
Dave,
than I
awesome.
deserve.
Hey,
You know,
I just
live
read his book.
like no one other. So one day you can live like no one other. I mean,
Yeah.
we got on that plan. So I proposed to my wife on the beach down in Gulf Shores, Alabama. It was like a family vacay. And then, of course, she said yes. And then the next day, I proposed to her that, hey, what if I told you that we can get 80% of our debt, if not all of it, out within a year and a half? And she's like, there's no way. I was like, but if I could propose that and tell you we could do that, would you be willing? She was like, well, hell yeah. You know, we probably had 150
Combined.
Yeah. With my truck, with our wedding, and thank God, like our wedding was mainly paid for by my parents. You know, we paid for like we wanted a video. Well, I wanted a video.
Video,
You know,
dude, for like $4,000
or six.
or six,
Or
yeah,
six.
for just somebody to
Dude,
flip.
if I put this thing on
film
TLC, they take it as a special. That's how good this dude did on our video. Anyway,
even though it's good, I mean,
no, it's
okay.
not good, man. The video was phenomenal. Like, I've had people come up to me, and like I said, not just because it's my wedding. I mean, I do take some pride because it was mine and Cass's wedding, but this video was amazing. Like, people came to me that were dudes. Like, dudes came to me saying, I cried.
I cried, freaking
Whispering
cried,
in his
dude.
shoulder.
I cried, man. I don't know what it was, man, but like, it was, your wife was just freaking hot, and I was like, you know, the video was amazing. And but anyway, so we had, my parents paid for all the food. They got the house. We had it at my house in Duck Hill, Mississippi. So, but we still paid, you know, $20,000 on our wedding after rings and videos.
Oh, that's
and
a ton, yeah.
yeah, it's a ton, and it probably would have been $100,000 wedding. But thank God I had my parents, you know, helped out a lot.
Yeah.
As far as doing things ourselves. Like, we saved a lot of money with Cass doing her own thing. But anyway, so we probably had 150 plus thousand between the both of us starting out a marriage. So I told her, I was like, look, like, we can travel. I was like, it's going to be rough. I was like, but we're going to get locked in with this guy called Dave Ramsey. I've listened to his book. My parents did it. I listened to his book on, you know, iTunes. I listened to his podcast, and we can do it.
The Total Money Makeover,
Yeah.
or the other one.
Total Money Maker. The
I
first
read
one.
that. I read that book in like 3 days.
It was awesome. It's a
Yeah.
great book. It's simple. And she's like, okay, so we got locked in with a woman in Vegas who's still pretty good friends with us now. We set up our whole budget, and to this day,
Did it cost money to do that?
it's like $500.
So you,
But see, but the $500 though gives you the finance plan. It gives you a whole layout of how long it would take you to do what you're trying to do. If you paid this much, this is how long it would take to pay off and how much interest you'd pay on it. If you did it in this time, if you did this, if you got rid of this, if you combine this, or this is how much blow money you had. I mean, it's a whole deal, and it
Yeah.
was totally worth it. To this, we just paid off 120. 140,000 as of 2 days ago. I have 139
Over a year?
over a year, and from January of last year till now, we have paid off 139,000.
So close.
And then I've got 11,000. The rest is my profits. The rest of them is my truck. I have to have brand new Dodge Ram I bought
You know what
last
Dave
year, which was
Ramsey would
stupid.
say? He'd probably say sell it.
Yeah, well, it's almost paid off now.
Yeah,
like
that's
it's,
true.
I wouldn't get back what I
Got
need for
into
it.
it, yeah.
So I have 11,000 left, and we're gonna be completely debt free because of that guy. It was awesome. Now, granted, not everybody can do that, but it was just showing you that we lived like we were poor, and we still had a good time. You know, we didn't kill ourselves. We weren't eating like ramen noodles and spam. But we budgeted, and yelled at each other because we don't have any money. Like, where's all our money going? But we were literally paying, one check goes to bills and, and free time money, whatever. And the other check went to loans. That's it. So we lived off one check, or one person's check till now. Well, we still are. We're going to continue to do the same thing and to save. Now money is just being saved.
Yeah.
Until you get your, the emergency fund?
3 to 6 month.
Oh, yeah. Now we've set up, she wanted an emergency fund for the emergency fund. So her big thing, which I'm very blessed to know, that she was like, I want nothing less in my account for an emergency backup than $3,000. I was like, but we have one. We have one that's like $3,000 now. She's like, I want this account to have $3,000 in it just in case. I'm like, and when I went to the hospital not too long ago, my bill was like $5,000, something like that. I ended up having to only pay like $1,700 because of the hospital being awesome. But we didn't even tap into it. We just paid it with whatever, because we've been saving like poor people.
Yeah.
But I've got one. We're gonna pay off my truck like in 2 weeks. Just be done. And then, but because we live, like I said, we live like no other. So one day we can live like no one other. I'll never buy a new truck again though. I'll never buy another new car. I'll buy like slightly used and still new, whatever.
Exactly
whatever
what he says. Yeah. Fuck. Shoot.
Everyone can get rid of debt. I hate the system is set up to where it's so easy to get yourself in debt, and I feel like people are unaware of the actual constraints that it puts on you, or when you're in debt and somebody else owns you. You don't make your own decisions.
We think about
somebody
it.
else owns you.
How much interest you have? Like her loans were like 6-7%. If she would have paid minimal payments, she would have paid 3 times the amount she owed after like 50 years. It's such a crook, man.
It is.
But anyway, we don't have a problem anymore. Like we just save. So, like I said, my first quote was, didn't say it'd be easy, just said it'd be worth it. That applies. And 2 is just, your problems are always going to be there, but every day you have a chance to make a new experience. Like, enjoy the cards that are dealt you. You may have the crappiest, shittiest part of my friend's life that there is, but you mean to tell me you can't find one thing that makes you happy? One thing, like, so with me now, it's even harder for my wife, because like everything makes me happy. Hanging out with you guys, working out, being able to walk, being able to talk. So I am very easily entertained, but you got to be able to find one thing that makes you happy. Yesterday's gone. Those problems are out of here. Tomorrow isn't even promised yet. Like, what do you have today, that God has given you to say, hey, you can be thankful for this, and like when you keep that mentality, like your mindset is everything. Your mind controls absolutely everything about you, your health, your mood, everything. If you can control your mind and make it a positive, overall positive, then you're better. Like, your life is always going to be good. You're going to have crap happen to you, but it just makes that much better when things get better.
That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to spread that same mentality, which is, what is your lifeblood? What is it that you have? That gives that for you. That gives you the mentality of either gratefulness or excitement, or just lets you be positive, or just go throughout the day and not just think that this was a waste of my time or I didn't do anything productive. So James, what is your lifeblood, or one of them? I feel like you have
you have numerous ones. So
what is one that sticks out in your brain?
Yeah.
My true lifeblood is my wife and my family. So, and I'm not just saying that if you're listening, Cass. I mean, like we've gone. The reason
Hopefully she listens.
Yeah, hopefully she listens. But the reason I say she is because she's had to put up with a lot of shit with me like the past year, like, because I'm very, being anal about this money, and then my family being so close that they're always in your business, and she comes from a very independent, like, she's had to change her whole life just to be with this redneck, and
You're
so
not just a redneck.
I mean, I am a redneck coon ass from the South that somehow won over this woman from the West who's got an amazing body, who had an awesome story too. Like, I hope she can get on here and talk to you. Like, she's got an awesome story.
Yeah, I want to talk to her.
I told her she's gonna have
Where's
to.
she at?
So she's at work right now.
That's all right.
But she has made it. I never really realized. Like, just sitting here now, I'm starting to realize too how much, like, how important she is. Like, to me, without her, like, I would be nothing. Like, she's helped me learn financial success as far as just getting out of debt. She's helped me learn how to be selfless, because when you have a wife, you have a wife.
Yeah.
It ain't about you anymore, bro. It's about happy wife, happy life.
It is.
But when she's happy, like, you are happy. Like, I don't want to sit down and see somebody that I am responsible for to be unhappy.
Yeah, and especially like when you love that person so much, and you have, you just want things. You want her to be happy, and that makes you happy. And it sucks that people say that, like, sarcastically, is that happy wife, happy life. It's like, but it's true, it's because that's you guys are one and the same.
You're one
not-
flesh now.
yeah.
Like, you two, like, you have to take. My brother said this best. He's like, the craziest thing that God ever invented was marriage. He's like, you're taking two different creatures that have nothing to do with anything about each other, like, nothing to do with each other. Like, they have nothing, like, we even have appendages that they don't have. They got, they got things, they got hormones. We've got different things and hormones. Like, we are nothing alike outside of just having arms and legs and a head and, ass or,
Yeah.
but you sit down and take that and make those two species coincide together. I mean, my brother's a huge Christian too. He's like, you gotta have God, your higher being, whoever it is. Like, to me, it's, you gotta have something that can allow her to put up with you. For one, that's my big thing. Like, she's got to have God to allow her to put up with me, because I can be hard. Like, it's rough. Like, men can be assholes. Women can be too. But it takes a lot to take two different creatures to coincide with one another. And the fact that I found one that actually can put up with me and loves me for my stupidity is a blessing in itself. So.
It's an amazing LifeBlood, and I believe that. We were having a conversation at the gym one time, and you told me, you're like, the reason why I work out, and you pointed over to Cass, and you're like, so that I can live long enough and spend time with her. It's not so I can get big. It's not so I can be strong in my own mind. It's so I can be healthy, so I can spend years with her and our family to come.
I'm glad you believe me, because she don't. She's like, you're just going to the gym to get pumped. I was like, really doing it for you, baby. She's like, shut up. No, you're not.
We took it to heart.
That's very cool. James, man, thank you so much for being on the LifeBlood
great,
podcast.
man. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, we loved having you. We loved your insight, and I'm sure there's people, even I was a little bit inspired, like, being a traveler. So it sounds awesome.
Yeah,
sounds
it
like
does. It sounds
you're really enjoying
really
your life,
fun.
and we love that. That's about it. Thank you guys for tuning into the LifeBlood podcast. Check us out, iTunes, Stitcher, and video later on in the week on YouTube will be up, so you can see our pretty faces. www.lifebloodpodcast.com. James, you want to say any closing remarks or anything?
No, man. I think it's great what you guys are doing. Like, spreading the joy, like, showing people that it's great to find things that make people happy. Like, you're making people think, which is cool. Like, when I listen to your stuff, it's cool to make people, like, they came in here to talk about, like, positivity. They don't come in here and complain about everything. This is, LifeBlood. It's not, deathbed.
It could be if we wanted.
It's cool though. Like, you're making people think. So I'm hoping that whoever listens, like, kind of takes your guys' little podcast to heart, even though you're still new.
Yeah,
you guys are doing, like, you're fantastic. So I've been looking forward to coming on, like, because it's nice to get a positive, making people think about positivity and, like, what can I do to make myself better.
Yeah,
and you're getting all these different types of people on. It's not just one thing. So, but I did say that I would shout out to a friend of mine, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, let's do it.
Course.
So I've got a buddy of mine in Vegas who I look up to a lot. His name's Omar. He's ex-military, got his own gym. He's kind of about what you guys are. Like, he's all about making yourself better. But he's got a gym called Camp Fit Force, and he's got his own clothing line out. Destroy Weakness.
Destroy Weakness.
Yeah, so I thought it was kind of appropriate to wear the destroy
I like
weakness and the hat, you know, because he's all about finding ways to break those barriers. Like, he's always getting better, and he's got a lot of things that could bring him down, but he's always positive. He always stands up high. A good role model, like, for me and my wife. So I told him I'd definitely give him a shout out to him. Like, his clothing line is freaking awesome. Like, I wear his clothes all the time. My wife gets aggravated because I do that. Because, like, I have no other shirts. Like, I'm just wearing his stuff.
What's the website?
Well, his is it's like Camp Fit Force, and then his product line is Destroy Weakness. He's got it all over Facebook, but it's Destroy Weakness without the vowels. So you take out all the vowels, so it's
.com.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
DSTRYWKNSS.com.
I like that a lot. Destroy Weakness.
Yeah.
We'll check it out. Hopefully, we could. I mean, it'd be cool to talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe come up here and we'll get him up here. Or maybe you guys would go to Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
Vegas,
We
baby.
go there and see him, man.
Yeah.
Him and his girlfriend are both like amazing athletes and just good all around people. So maybe we can all go down there and talk to them.
All right.
That'd be awesome.
We'll be there tomorrow. Check us out in Vegas tomorrow. Later, guys. Thank you for joining.
This is the LifeBlood podcast. Join us on our journey to inspiration.
This is as real as it gets, man.
Think for yourself. Question of heart.